Welcome to the Matt Reiser Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. Now, live from Buddy's Bar and Grill in Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
All right, Lion baseball had a very productive last 7 days, going undefeated on the week with a perfect 5-0 record. Our Lions opened the week knocking off Big Ten member Purdue with a pat, and then followed it up with a big victory over top 25 Mississippi State in Biloxi. The Lions have now knocked off the Bulldogs 6 consecutive times, and Matt Reiser is currently undefeated against Mississippi State. Over the weekend, the Lions headed to Beaumont and swept the 3-game set from the Lamar Cardinals to improve their overall record to 16-6 and 5-1 in the Southland Conference. After the 5-0 week, your Southeastern Lions received some national recognition as SOU currently sits at number 28 in the collegiate baseball poll. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to the Matt Reiser Radio Show presented by North Oaks Health Systems, live from our home, Buddy's Bar and Grill, right here in Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight, whether on the Lions Radio Network or watching the archive on Facebook. We'll be with you until 8 o'clock tonight, and over the next hour we'll get Coach Reiser's thoughts on this past week and look ahead to this week's slate of games. But first, let's take a break. When we come back, I'll be joined by the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Matt Reiser. This is the Matt Reiser Radio Show presented by North Oak Health Systems and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
America's pastime. 12 players drafted in the Reiser era. 2 Southland Conference championships. Back-to-back at-large regionals. Coming off a strong finish in 2017, another intense season is on the horizon, featuring a gauntlet of non-conference home games. New season, same goal. Don't miss out on any of the action.
What does it mean to be Southland strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom
and being engaged with service,
family,
passion,
integrity,
overcoming adversity,
hard work and dedication,
bettering people around you,
striving for excellence,
leadership and competition
on our campuses
and in our communities.
We are Southland strong.
All right, welcome back inside Buddy's Bar and Grill. Just getting started here tonight. I'm Alan Waddell. This is the Matt Reiser Radio Show. Lions went 5-0 this past week, are now in the top 30 of the collegiate baseball poll at number 28, currently sitting at 16-6 overall, 5-1 in the Southland Conference. We want to welcome to the show now the reason you're listening. the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Matt Reiser. As Coach, thanks for being here tonight, and congratulations on a big week. 5-0, big wins since the last time we sat here and talked.
Yeah, good week, man. Good week. Excited about the guys. They went out there and did a fantastic job of getting back to work. You know, it was funny last week. We talked about it a little bit. We won 4 out of 5 last week and wasn't real pleased with the way we played. And it goes back to the result. It's not necessarily sometimes the result. It's just the process of it. And this week, 5-0, had some good quality wins. Had a nice win there on the road at MGM Park, and then obviously to go on the road at Lamar and get 4. Get 4 in a row there on the road. It was impressive by our guys to be able to do that because it's not very easy to sweep any weekend, much less on the road.
One thing we talked about last week, Matt, was the fact that you played most of your games really close to home. This week, you had most of it, away from home. You played on Tuesday night against Purdue, at home against the Big Ten, but then it was at MGM in Biloxi, and then a road trip at Beaumont against the Lamar Cardinals. Talk about how you felt your team handled, really the first time this year being on the road for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I thought we handled it really well, to be honest with you. It was the first time I didn't realize it, but going to MGM in Biloxi, even though it was only an hour and a half away, hour 45 away, was the first time we left the state of Louisiana this year. We had a few road games there down in Baton Rouge and Tulane, but that was the first time we actually left the state, and I thought the guys handled it well. We had the first inning there against the Bulldogs, and we had a conversation that's not rated for radio or TV, but after the first inning. But the guys got back and got right and got things back handled the way they were supposed to. And it was neat to see our guys handle a hostile environment. There was 3,300 people there at the game, and I guarantee you 3,000 of them were Mississippi State Bulldog fans. They brought a strong home maroon and white crowd, and a lot of cowbells going on there, especially in that first inning. But Jaconely silenced those things the rest of the way, and I thought we handled the road in a hostile environment extremely well.
I want you to talk a little bit about the first game of the week, against Purdue. Big Ten opponent comes in and an opportunity to take on another Power 5 team, a team out of the Big Ten. And we mentioned it last week. You've done a really good job scheduling the fact when these teams from up north come down here and they maybe are playing somebody else in the previous weekend, a chance to, to stick around and play a quality opponent. Purdue was in town playing Tulane the week before. You got an opportunity to get them on a Tuesday night at home at the Pat.
Yeah, the head guy there, Mark, has done a good job of trying to rebuild that program back into a power there in the Big Ten. It's only in year 2, and they off to a good start. I think they were 9-4 coming in the ball game, a club that was hitting .307, and Mason Knopp, the job he did to handle that offense in a very friendly environment for the defense that night. The wind was blowing in pretty good, and they did get on one ball there to center field. But I thought he did a fantastic job of attacking their hitters and keeping them on their heels pretty much all night long. They tried a few things early. He brings a West Coast-style offense, except with some strength as well. They try to be the complete offense like we are, where they hit homers and drop bunts and do the hit and runs. But we threw a few guys out early in the ball game, fielded a few bunts early in the ball game, and kept them on their heels the rest of the game. And I thought Mason Knopp was very well deserving of that Southland Pitcher of the Week after that performance against Purdue.
Yeah, you swept the Southland Conference Players of the Week this week as Mason Knopp, you mentioned it, he got Pitcher of the Week, and then also Cody Gross got Hitter of the Week as well. So certainly nice to get those guys some recognition inside the conference. It's nice to sweep the awards in the conference. You did that this week. When you do that and you go 5-0, usually you can find a guy that's pitched well or hit well to carry your team.
Yeah, there's been a few guys. Damon has the hard choice on Sunday night, making the nomination there for who should be the hitter or who should be the pitcher, because we talked about last week where we were kind of disappointed in what our starting pitching had gave us in the week. In 5 starts, we had 3 guys that didn't make it into the 4th inning. And obviously one of them being Jay Sneedy, who pitched his 5th game and I think or 4th game in 5 games or something like that. But either way, we didn't have we only had 2 starters that went past the 4th, so they were challenged this week. And what I love about our club and love about our guys, the makeup and mentality of our guys, when you challenge them, they like to respond to it. And I thought our guys responded extremely well. Obviously, Mason Knopp goes 8 innings there on Tuesday. You got Jaconely goes 9 on Wednesday. Green gives us a fantastic 7 on Friday. Carlisle gives us another fantastic 7. And then, with Grenier, we talked about this early, especially with him coming back from the injury. We like him in the starting role, so he's in the routine of things, but we don't want to go real deep with him, especially here early in the season, because we want to save some of those bullets for later in the year. And if we get 5 out of them, we're ecstatic because we feel like we got a really solid bullpen, especially when you have starters go that deep the entire week. So had a good start there with him on Sunday. I thought he did a really good job. They had one wind ball that got out that he gave up a run on a solo home run. But other than that, I thought he did a fantastic job as well. So our starting pitching kind of set the tone for the week.
No doubt about it. Lions went on the road and swept Lamar and moved their record to 16-6, 5-1 in the Southland Conference. And Matt, I know these type of things, aren't as important to you and your staff as maybe to the fans. I know that on Twitter I always try to post things about your club whenever you win and such like that. And I've had many people come back at me and say, when are we going to get some votes? When are we going to get in the poll? And your program certainly has gotten a lot of national recognition over the last few years. The only non-Power 5 school in the country to beat a back-to-back regionals as at-large appearances. So the people out there that are voting and they're putting people into the regionals, they know about your club, but some of the national media know it as well. And you jumped into the National Collegiate Baseball poll this week at number 28. Actually, the first time during the regular season we've been in the poll since 2010. So
wow.
You're getting certainly some recognition nationally.
Yeah, that's been a long time. I really didn't realize that until Damon posted it in the article today that it's been that long since we had been in the national rankings. And but that's just the mainstay of the program. It's not a program that comes in and hits one miracle year and then goes back to being under 500 for a couple of years and then hits it again for another year. We're fortunate. The area we're at, we can recruit high school kids. We can recruit junior college kids. We can recruit highly academic kids. We've got the TOPS program here in the state of Louisiana, so we can keep some of these kids close and local. It's just we've got so many parameters that work in our favor to keep this thing so consistent. The administration that we have, obviously what we do with Dr. Crane and what he's done for just the university in general and getting the brand name out there. It's a consistent program year in and year out, and so yes, we get the national recognition right now for the number 8 team in the country or whatever it is. But I think a lot of that also has to do with the first part of the season, but what we've done in years past as well. It's been a mainstay in the household for a baseball program that's been on the national stage.
Matt, and I think just the overwhelming popularity of Southeastern baseball has grown over the last few years. And I know I got several texts this morning, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to address this because I think over the last few years we've had to watch what I'm going to talk about so closely. Everybody wants to know, and I know I want to give you the opportunity to say relax about RPI because I know that stuff's going to all work itself out. Mm-hmm. It's way too early to be looking at RPI.
My tombstone's already got it on there. So. No, it is, and it's so funny because people want to come right out the gate and start talking about it. Why is this? Why is this? That's why I told myself this year I'm not looking at the game 40. People have tried to tell me, man, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear what the RPI is because there's no substance to it yet. We've been at home here the first part of the year. We haven't really played our road games yet. Our opponents, some of the northern schools, obviously they're a little bit higher because they're on the road more right now as opposed to, when you play in LSU, right? Who's going to be a top RPI team. We know they're going to be in the top 15, maybe in the top 10 RPI. They're in the 100s, I think somebody told me the other day. So I won't tell you yours, but LSU is 106, just to let you know. So that's not really a quality win yet. I said, it will be. By the time you get down to the nitty-gritty and get to the end of the season, when it really counts, right? Nobody wins a championship in March. So get away from the RPI. Quit looking at your computers. I know everybody's stuck to it, but play it out a little bit. Give it a little bit of time, and we'll look up at the end of the year, and we'll be right where we need to be. If we get the wins we need to carry on the rest of the season.
And just to kind of follow up on what Matt's talking about is a lot of the RPI, the way it's based on is a lot of road games, and we haven't played a lot of road games. And a lot of those teams from up north that have played basically all road games, you look at them, they're in the top 50 of the RPI. It's way too early. So all those people that texted me today, I'm sure texting you, Matt, texting all the people in our area.
First week.
No doubt about it. Don't worry about RPI at this point. It's all going to play itself out. But I think it's a good thing on a positive note that there's that many people paying attention this close that we're only 22 games into the season, and there's that many people that are paying attention to where you're at in that type of situation.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. The positive thing about this, there's that many people excited about our program, and there's that many people excited about, like, man, we should be ranked higher than that. Our RPI should be higher than that. I agree with you, and it will be when the time comes there at the end of the season. So I think that's the exciting and neat part about it, the positive part about it. We got a lot of fan base, a lot of support, and you can see that grow just here in the early excitement of the home games. The attendance is up, probably a couple of hundred people here just in the first few weeks here, and also the venues we're going to off-site as well. We played in front of 3,300 at Mississippi State or the MGM game, whatever it may be. The overall attendance is there as well, so I think that's a neat part about it. We've got a lot of support around us, and they're staying involved with it.
I think one thing that maybe has tricked our fans a little bit is we've had unseasonably warm weather. It's been more like April and May and March, so I know you're not going to complain about that. So we've certainly
it.
had some good baseball weather to start the season. Let's get to our first break. When we get back, we're going to get Matt to break down these 5 wins from this past week that moved our Lions to 16-6 overall and 5-1 in the Southland Conference, and now currently in the top 30 of the collegiate baseball poll in the United States. Let's go ahead and take a break. This is the Matt Riser Radio Show presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back here to Buddy's Bar and Grill on South Morrison in Hammond, Louisiana. I'm Alan Waddell. This is the Matt Riser Radio Show. Lions currently 16-6 overall, 5-1 in the Southland Conference, and currently the 28th ranked team in the entire country, as we're joined each and every week right here on Monday nights from 7 to 8 o'clock by the head baseball coach of your Southeastern Lions, Coach Matt Riser. And we're breaking down this week a little bit. Lions went 5-0, started out the week with a couple of Power 5 wins over Purdue and Mississippi State, and then went on the road for the weekend and swept the Lamar Cardinals in Beaumont, Texas. As Matt, I want you to go back a little bit and talk about this win against Purdue. You shut those guys out 4-0. We talked about Macy Knopp. He was named Southland Conference Pitcher of the Week as the way he dominated the Purdue Boilermakers. This was a team that was really coming in swinging the bat well. And I want you to talk about him a little bit as a pitcher. We've seen him on the weekend earlier in this year. Right. Now he slid to the midweek. Talk about his role, because this is a new arm for our fans here in 2018 that we didn't see a year ago. Yeah,
it was funny. We actually had a recruit on campus that flew in Tuesday, and we were sort of talking in the dugout before Mason took the field. And just, talking about who he was and what he was. Hey, man, the kid you see tonight, it's not going to be outstanding stuff. It's going to be 86 to 89. He'll touch some 90s, but the fastball has a different element to it. He's got some life to it, and he can locate it. The slider's okay. It's average. He's got a decent feel for a changeup. It's okay. But, man, it's a real competitor. And don't look at his numbers, because his numbers right now are kind of skewed. They're early. We've misplayed some balls that have played into earned runs for him and hits, and when they should be outs, and just haven't played real good defense yet behind him. Lost a few balls in the sun. He had two big innings that were sun balls. We just lost in the sun that were routine pop-ups. I said, so just watch him tonight, man. Watch how he goes, and this is why we were so comfortable and so confident in him. And sure enough, lo and behold, there he goes. He goes his 8 innings and his 2 hits and his 4 punch-outs and pounding the zone, man. I think the one thing we did a good job of all weekend or all week in the 5-game week was we threw strikes, and that's going to be our MO as a staff. We're going to make you and force you to beat us. You're going to have to put the ball in play. We're not going to give you the free passes there with the walks, and I think we only ended up walking 6, maybe 7 guys all week, and Mason set that tone there on Tuesday.
You look at his stat line, 8 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, and I thought the really impressive part is 8 innings and only threw 96 pitches. So, he was really economical on the mound in this ball game. He brought in Will Warren. He closed the door, won this game 4-0 against the Purdue Boilermakers, and certainly a game I think we'll look back towards the end of the year and say, hey, man, that was a pretty good win, a quality win early in the year as we got Purdue to come down here and take on the Lions in Hammond. Matt, the very next night you went over to Biloxi. This is the second time, 2 years in a row, you've been to MGM Park. You played a game there a year ago against Southern Miss, this time against Mississippi State. I know it's a great venue to play over there, and certainly a great opportunity to get on the field with a team at the time was ranked in the top 20 of the country in Mississippi State.
Yeah, just a gorgeous venue, like you said, right there on the coast in Mississippi, and we've got a few Mississippi boys that are on the staff, or on the roster, and obviously myself growing up an hour away from Biloxi, so it was good. I saw a lot of hometown folks that came out to support us. A few came kind of split in the green and the maroon. They're big Mississippi State fans as well, but it was good. It was good to get down there in that type of atmosphere, because really, other than the LSU game there on that Sunday game, it's the only other one we've been in that's been against us. We've been at home a lot this year. We've had some really good crowds and hostile crowds that have been, in favor of us. So it was good to put ourselves in that type of environment. And maybe that's what the guys were trying to do in that first inning. I'm not real sure. It was one of those innings we didn't play very good defense again, played very passive, and we had a conversation after that about how we need to just get back to being, aggressive defensively the same way we were offensively. And I thought we handled some things well. We get a few walks there. Drew Avens, who's been our bat there in the middle of the order, gets a big hit down the line when the base is loaded. They cleaned him up for a 3-run triple down the line, and after that it was kind of like, hey man, new ball game. All the guys started kind of high-five. They started feeling it again, and like, hey man, we're right back in this thing, and now we can kind of hit the reset button. So we were fortunate enough to do that, and really kind of started our week for swinging the bat well. I thought we swung it extremely well. They brought in their closer and tried a few guys that have been big key pieces for them in years past in some key situations, and we continue to have some big at-bats and some big moments, and continue to extend that lead. I think that was the thing I was most proud of. And then, probably the biggest story tonight was Corey Giacone.
Yeah.
I don't think a whole lot of people really saw us going CG with him after giving up 5 runs in the first inning, but what I kept telling people, it wasn't Corey. Corey was fine. It was our defense that wasn't playing the way they needed to play. So we knew if we could get out of the first inning that Corey would settle in and get some soft contact, and didn't, in all honesty, expect him to go 9. I think we had the bullpen start going about the 6th or 7th, but he really just kind of got in a groove. He kept getting stronger as the game went on, and that's a testament to his work ethic and where he's been from a strength and conditioning standpoint. That Coach P's done a really good job with him to make sure that he was in the right shape to do that.
At one point in the game, Corey Giacone set down 17 in a row. So,
wow.
After the first inning, and that's the second time we've seen him do that. Against Tulane earlier this year, he had, gave up a few there in the first couple of innings and still went deep into the ball game. And one thing about this time of the year is you have conference weekends. They're obviously the most important thing, what's going on. You want to win these midweek games, and certainly for, RPI and things that later on, you want to win these these midweek games. But when you have a pitcher that can go 9 innings on a Wednesday night, it saves your bullpen for the weekend, and that's what he was able to do on Wednesday.
And it was huge, man, because we knew it was a weekend going in with Lamar that could really pitch it, man. It was a group that we knew we were going to have to play good defense again, and we were going to have to be able to really pitch it, and no free passes, and just scrap offensively. And like you said, he saved the bullpen. I think what Corey Giacone did on Wednesday ended up winning us the ball game there on Sunday.
I'll ask you, do you see Jaconi staying in the midweek? Do you see him going back to the weekend? I mean, I know a year ago, probably at the end of the year, I know Mac went really high, but at the end of the year, Corey was throwing maybe the best on the staff.
Right.
What's your plans for him right now, and what's his role on this ball club right now?
Once we get out of these 5-game weeks, I think that's been the real head-scratcher so far. We're just trying to make sure the guys are put in the right spots to have success, and we're trying to make sure the right guys, the right matchups. Not necessarily, hey, well, he's going to pitch against Mississippi State, and he's going to pitch against Jackson State, and he's going to pitch against South Alabama because their RPI is this, and this.
Right.
It's going to be based off.
I think people think that.
Yeah, they do. But it's based off the matchup, where we feel we can have success, and if it matches up with the days that they can kind of come back, or if we can manipulate it by a day. So, for instance, Corey Jaconi is going to start tomorrow against South Alabama, and Mason Knopf is going to go against Jackson State. And really the reason behind it is because I like Mason Knopf against Jackson State. They got a bunch of guys who can run. If they put the ball on the ground, they can really be effective against you, but he's a fly ball pitcher. And so is Corey to an extent. He gets a lot of soft contact out front, but Mason's fastball, he can attack with the fastball, and he can get a lot of fly balls, and then hopefully get those guys that normally hit ground balls and run and get them in the air to play a little bit of edge or defense for us.
Lions knocked off Mississippi State on Wednesday night at MGM Park in Biloxi 11-5. They fell behind early 5-1 and then scored 10 unanswered. And if you just weren't listening, Corey Jaconi got the win on the mound. At one point sat down 17 in a row against the Bulldogs. And I mentioned this at the top of the show. Southeastern 6-0 in their last 6 games against Mississippi State. The Lions have really had the Bulldogs number.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to get them on the schedule and go up there years ago. And Jay, my second year here, I think Jay's 4th or 5th year here, and swept them up there. So yeah, we've enjoyed keeping the streak alive. And let me tell you something. I got a lot of text messages that day. Hey, Coach, don't let the streak die now. Don't let the streak die. Put all the pressure on us and make sure we went out and got that win and kept that streak alive.
Certainly did. And then Matt, you went on the weekend against Lamar. You got 3 big wins on Friday. Certainly set the tone. 6-4. Really had kind of a comfortable lead there. It tightened up late in the ball game, but always big to win on Friday night. Talk about Josh Green's performance in that game on Friday.
Yeah, this is one we were excited about, because obviously the week before against didn't think he had really a good outing, and even the week before that with Sacred Heart. It was kind of back-to-back subpar outings for Josh, and he came out with a different intent. When you move from the bullpen into the starting role, you just got to approach it a little bit differently of how you're approaching each hitter. And so I think, really, in all honesty, I think Josh was trying to reserve a little bit, trying to go deeper in ball games. We told him, I said, I don't care if you give me 4 innings. Go out there and throw every pitch, execute it to the best of your ability. Throw it with every bit of might that you have. Don't try to hold anything back. If you give us 4 great innings, you got 4 great innings, because we got a bullpen we feel like is extremely deep, and we can go to different pieces early in the ball game. If you can keep them at 0 runs through 4, and that's all you can give us, that's fine. We've got 3 or 4 other guys that can get us through the other 5 innings to make sure we shut them out there. So I thought Josh's performance, his intent earlier in the game was a lot different than what it had been the first or the other 2 outings. I thought he did a good job of going out there, execute some big pitches, some big moments, and he kind of hit the gas button there a little bit there at the end. We only threw 90 pitches with him, but you could start seeing it kind of fall off a little bit at 80. But that's what I told him. I'd much rather him give us 80 quality pitches or 90 quality pitches, opposed to, hey, give us 90 quality pitches and 20 subpar pitches, because those 20 subpar pitches will get you beat. So I thought he did a fantastic job of setting a tone. And like you said, we were up 6-0. I thought we did a good job offensively. Like I said, Wednesday started our kind of offensive stretch. Jace Campbell came in the game, was a dude for them, and just didn't have his stuff that night. They brought the midweek starter. Lamar didn't have any midweek games this week after playing double midweek the 2 weeks before. So they had a game plan. Hey, man, we'll start the starter. Hey, if we give us 3 good innings, and we'll go to the midweek start. And they did that. They brought in the left-hander right, and he was a good arm, man. They've got a really quality staff over there, to be honest with you, and some guys that really complement each other well. But I was proud of our offense. Our offense did a good job of scoring early on them. They had some free passes early with the walks, and they had some execution offense that we did a good job of, and stole some bags, and kind of set the tone for the weekend that, hey, man, we're here. I mean, you might think you're going to pitch it and keep us down to 1-2 runs. No, we're going out to do some damage there offensively, and we got some horses too that can match up with yours as well.
Matt, we touched on this a week ago of the back end of your bullpen. I know you feel like there's a very deep group. You have a lot of guys you can run out there. We've seen Will Warren come in and I guess closer type situations.
Right.
We saw Bryce Tassin come in this game and get the save, pick up his 3rd save of the year. Is that one of those things you're going to just feel it out as the year goes on, or are you going to try to settle on a guy and say, this is my guy in the 9th?
Yeah, no, I think this is where we're at right now with it. We've got 3 or 4 options there. Trey Schaefer closed one out against UNO last week, and it's one of those deals we feel like it's the hot hand or the right matchup. Hey, bring that guy in and ride with it. No reason to mess with it. If it's not broke, don't fix it type deal, right? So don't get just stuck and you're in a setup role, you're in a closer role. I'm gonna get an out people role, right? Get people out. That's the role I want you in. So go out there and go get the dudes out. And I'm gonna tell you get dudes out, get dudes out. When I tell you come out and get another dude in there, and the next dude in there, go get the dudes out. So I thought they did a good job of that. You'll see it closed by committee type deal because I think we got some guys again. Just they're different pieces, man. You got Tassin coming out with a split finger that nobody else really in the country has.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very few guys have a split finger like he does. So you can bring him out to really get the left-handers, and he's got some fastball he can beat the right-handers with if they're trying to sit on the splitty. And then also you got Will Warren, who's more the 4-pitch mix, who will end up being a starter, I think, by the end of his career. But he's just got that bulldog mentality, man. You like to run a freshman out there that doesn't know what he's doing yet, and just kind of go take the bull by the horn. So.
Matt, Saturday, you get the victory against Lamar. Once again, you take the series. You knock those guys off 8-1. I know we were talking a little bit off the air. Maybe the most complete game you've played all year. You go over there, and on Saturday, you get the series win. And every year, it seems like since you've been here, we go into the year and say, hey, who's going to be the guy on the mound? Who's going to be the guy on the mound? And right now, I mean, I know it's early, but Carlisle Kessler's that guy. I mean, he has been dominant through his starts. Even when he's come in relief, he came in and got the save against Tulane. But he's 4-0, and he had another dominant performance in this one. 7 innings pitched, only threw 87 pitches, and 1 earned run once again. I know his ERA is somewhere around 1. So, I mean, he's been dominant so far here in 2018.
Yep, and you're rolling that guy out on Saturday. You get that win on Friday, man. You go on for Saturday for the series win. You feel really, really good about that Saturday, and it's that swing game. Some coaches in the country like winning the Saturday better than they do the Friday. Some guys, they lose on Friday. They feel the pressure of having to win Saturday or Sunday. Some guys feel like if you win on Saturday, then that's the momentum going into Sunday that you need to win the series or sweep the series. So having Carlisle on that role, man, has been vital for us. Obviously, how comfortable we are when we run them out there on Saturday, build momentum into Sunday. We've been extremely ecstatic about it. And again, one of those deals, we're able to extend the lead, be able to get them out, don't have to go 110 pitches, right? I thought he did a fantastic job of exhausting his 7 innings there and give us everything he had for 87 pitches, quality pitches. And then also going to Peyton Lee, man. I think that's one we haven't really talked about yet a ton. But, boy, is he ever emerging out of that daggone bullpen. He went 2 innings shutout for us and just dominated with a fastball. Didn't throw a single other pitch. Hey, man, again, one of those things, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. He dominated him with a fastball, got the 2 innings we needed. And, like I said, probably the most complete game we've played to date because we scored a few runs late to finish that thing off.
All right, let's talk quickly about Sunday before we get to our next break. You go for the sweep on Sunday, and we always talk about this. If you're going to win the Southland Conference, you got to sweep weekends when you have the opportunity. You didn't do that last week against UNO. You won the first 2, had an opportunity to sweep them, didn't do it in that second game of the doubleheader. This time you took care of business, and I thought it was important. You're on the road. And, this is a team that they opened up with Sam Houston. They got swept last week. Right. They were 0-3. You come out, you knock them off a couple of times. Now they're 0-5. And you score 4 runs in the first inning and really kind of suck the air out of their sails. I thought you did that on Sunday.
And that was the game plan. We talked about it. Hey, man, getting a plan. The wind's blowing in again. We got a left-hander who's got a 1.86 ERA. We had a left-hander the day before, had a .74 ERA. So it was one of those deals. If you're going to allow him to do it, he will get you out consistently and go deep in the ball game. We need to jump on them early to get the momentum on our side before they can actually recover. And then we did that. We went up there. We hammered a few balls. Schwarner hammered one off the wall. He's starting to come around a little bit. And then Bryce Steckler split a gap for a 3-run double there that was really nice to see, to be honest with you, because we know Steck can go for us. He can do some real damage there in the middle of that order. He's that athletic frame we're looking for. It can run a little bit, but also can have some power in the lineup as well. It was good to see him get that big knock and us get off to that 4-0 start there. And like we said, with Grenier, hey, man, Grenier, just give us 4. That's all we need because we got guys in the bullpen. Give us your 4 best innings. We eliminated a huge, huge inning there in the second inning. They kind of dinked one in over the first baseman's head for a double, right? Just kind of one of those humpback liners that just lands in the right spot just inside the foul line. Another guy kind of hits one through the 6th hole. They got first and third, nobody out. It's a situation where, 9 times out of 10, first and third, nobody out. You're going to score multiple multiple runs. We talk about it all the time. Our defensive philosophy is eliminate the big inning. We have to eliminate the big inning. And we did. They gave up 1 sac fly, 1 run in the situation, gave up 2 solo home runs. We talk about it all the time, solo home runs won't beat you. So I was really, really pleased to see what we did on the mound and just as a complete weekend series.
Lions get the sweep against Lamar. They win on Sunday 5-3, pushed their overall record to 16-6, 5-1 in the Southland Conference. Currently sitting in second place in the Southland. I know it's really early. We got a long way to go. Sam Houston's at 6-0. Southeastern 1 game back at 5-1. The Lions have another 5-game week this week coming up. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll get Matt to preview this upcoming week right here on the Matt Roser Radio Show, presented by North Oaks Health System and Buddy's Bar and Grill on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
America's pastime. 12 players drafted in the Riser era. 2 Southland Conference championships. Back-to-back at-large regionals. Coming off a strong finish in 2017, another intense season is on the horizon, featuring a gauntlet of non-conference home games. New season, same goal. Don't miss out on any of the action.
What does it mean to be Southland strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom.
And being engaged with service.
Family.
Passion. Integrity.
Overcoming adversity.
Hard work and dedication.
Bettering people around you.
Striving for excellence.
Leadership and competition.
On our campuses.
And in our communities.
We are Southland strong.
All right, welcome back. We're already over halfway home here on our show. About 20 minutes left to go as our Lions currently 16-6 overall and not receiving votes, actually ranked in the top 30 this week and number 28 in the collegiate baseball poll. They'll be, back at it this week, another 5-game week. I know, Matt, that's tough when you have a 5-game week the week before and then you got to turn around and play 5 more right here in the middle of conference play.
No, we're getting used to it. Third week in a row. Why not, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Some of my guys get some more opportunities, but
15 games in 21 days?
Yeah, why not? The guys don't like practice anyways. They much rather play. It's another busy week for us. Obviously taking on a really good South Al ball club. Don't let the record deceive you by any means. This is a preseason top 25 club that's got a chance to be right back where they were last year in another regional and even possibly a super regional club. I mean, this club can really swing the bat. They've got a local product in Travis Swaggerty that we talked about in the break. That's a really good player for them.
He's one of the premier players in the country.
He is. He's going to be a first, second round player. And it's a club that will ambush you quick. We've got to do a good job. We're facing left-hander Narguillis tomorrow. We've seen him before. We've had some success with him before. And it's another left-hander for us again. I mean, I feel like every weekend that's all we're facing is left-hander. We saw left-handers from UConn. We've seen left-handers from obviously Lamar this past weekend. Another left-hander here in the midweek game. We're getting pretty familiar with the left-handers here. And then obviously a good Jackson State ball club. This Jackson State ball club's popped a few clubs in the midweek, and I don't know if they're saving their arms or what they're doing, but man, they're doing a good job in the midweek of holding some offenses down that I know have scored some runs on the weekend. So we'll have to do more research on the Jackson State. I haven't really got to the report on them yet, but South Al, obviously, I'm very familiar with. A lot of their hitters, a lot of their program, I'm very familiar with. Very similar program to what we have. I think the young men compete the same way our young men do. I think they're the right kids. I think the world of Coach Calvi and what he's done with that program. Actually, a little bit of a mentor to me as well. I've leaned on him in a few situations to just talk a little bit of baseball, talk a little bit about life, and it's going to be a fun night tomorrow night there in Mobile for sure.
This is a good rivalry, I think. This is a great team to have on the schedule each and every year because, they're always going to be solid. You're always going to be solid. And you've had some success, certainly, against South Al. You've won 8 out of 9 against the Jaguars, and this is a really good baseball program. They have a nice facility over there. They'll come back. I got to look at this. They'll come back here later on in the year. So usually play home and home, and they'll be back here later on this year. But we mentioned it. They have some nice arms. They have some certainly some good hitters as well. And Travis Swaggerty, again, he put on a show last year, I know, in that Hattiesburg Regional because they were a postseason team a year ago. But South Alabama, certainly a very quality ball club you'll take on tomorrow night. And you mentioned they were a preseason top 25 team. And then you turn around in Jackson State, and, you look at Jackson State, and I think sometimes – you look at them and they get labeled as, they're in the SWAC. They're not. That's not a great baseball league. But I know Jackson State always puts a good product on the field. And you mentioned it. They're off to a good start this year. They're already 13-6 on the year.
Right.
So they're playing well. And that's always a tough place to go up there and play.
Oh, boy, is it. We've had a few situations and instances where we've gone up there and lost a midweek game. So we've got to do a good job going up there and making sure we are focused and ready to go and not look past, don't look past South Al to Jackson State. Don't look past Jackson State to the weekend, right, with Houston Baptist. We've got to do a good job of making sure we take care of business in the moment and stay in the present.
The game on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, will be at 6:30 over there at South Alabama. It's an easy drive if you want to take the little short drive over there to Mobile and watch the Lions take on the South Alabama Jaguars. And then Jackson State, obviously about the same distance, just north this time, to take on Jackson State. I believe that is a 6 o'clock first pitch. I will confirm that in just a moment. So 6:30 tomorrow and then 6 o'clock on Wednesday. And then, Matt, you come back home. You kind of end this road trip you've been on as you were in Biloxi for Mississippi State, then you're on the road at Lamar, and now, at South Al, at Jackson State, and then you get to come home and take on Houston Baptist. You get back to the Pat and take on Houston Baptist team that, that since they've joined the league, they've been solid. They were in a regional a couple of years ago. They're in a hotbed for baseball over there in the Houston area, and I know they have a couple of big wins so far earlier this year.
Yeah, a really good Houston Baptist ball club, a club that it can always pitch it, man. It doesn't matter what they're doing in the season. They've always got 5 or 6 arms that really know how to pitch, and they'll have some guys with stuff. They'll have some guys that are just really, really, really good college pitchers that know how to manipulate the zone and manipulate the baseball in the zone, and they do a good job, man. They took 2 out of 3 this past weekend from Nichols. Got the conference started off right. Like you said, I think they've got a couple quality wins and beating Rice and Baylor as well.
Houston.
And U of H. Yep, there you go. So it's a club that's going to keep the ball game close. Very rarely do you get extended on them. I don't know if they've given up double-digit runs all year long with their pitching staff because that's their forte. They pitch and they play defense. I remember going over there last year being extremely frustrated because we felt like we put some good barrels on some balls throughout the entire weekend, and man, they just kept making play after play after play. The shortstop's a really, really good player. He's going to be, or I think he is, a first-team all-conference player. And so it's a club. We're going to have to do a good job. Very similar to what we did with Lamar this past weekend. We're going to have to execute offensively. We're going to have to play clean baseball. And they'll obviously come in with a little chip on their shoulder, but we've got to have a chip on our shoulder as well because if you remember, I don't like to remember, but if you do remember, they swept us last year at their place. So I
forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't. So I don't think our kids did either. So they'll be excited about that. But again, we've got to do a good job here in the midweek, not looking forward to the weekend, taking care of business because it is a busy week with a 5-game week with South Allen Jack State.
So once again, reset the schedule for you. Tuesday night, 6:30, first pitch. The Lions will be on the road taking on the South Alabama Jaguars. Then on Wednesday night, they'll turn right around and go to Jackson, Mississippi and take on Jackson State in a 6 o'clock first pitch. Then on the weekend, it's your normal Southland Conference weekend. 6 o'clock at home on Friday night, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and 1 o'clock on Sunday. I know you mentioned your starters for the South Alabama game. You said Corey Giacone will get the start against South Alabama. Mason Knapp against Jackson State on Wednesday night. I'm sure Josh Green on Friday night, and then Carlisle Kessler on Saturday. And then what's the plan right now for Sunday? Is it Kate Grande right there rolled into that role?
Yeah, right now we're staying with the weekend rotation, especially through this 5-game week. We were able to get by, I think, a few weeks ago with the Toledo game where we wanted to roll in Grande into the weekend. But now we're going to do we'll get through the 5-game week and reevaluate next week, kind of go where we're at. I think we're back to a 4-game week next week with Tulane in the midweek game and kind of a normal week, so to speak. These 5-game midweeks are wearing on us a little bit. So, same rotation, Green on Friday, Carlisle Kessler there on Saturday, and then Grande there on Sunday.
So there you have it. 5 big games coming up on the schedule. 3 of them are at home. If you don't have your tickets, come on out to the Pat. As hopefully we have a lot of light shows this weekend as Southeastern will be at home against Houston Baptist after they play on the road on Tuesday and Wednesday night. We're about to get to a break, but before we do that, I want to make a quick reminder. If you would like to send in a question for Coach Reiser, you can do that. You can go on Twitter. You can tweet it to him, to myself, or the Southeastern athletics page. We'll get them to you however you want. So send in some questions on Twitter, and we will get those questions read aloud right here on the program. I know last week we ran out of time. We had so much to cover. We got 4 weeks jammed into an hour. We were able to do that last week. So I know we had some questions from last week we're going to get to tonight. So coming up, we're going to take a break. When we come back, the rest of the show is yours. We'll get to your questions. We'll get Matt's final thoughts of the night, and we'll wrap it up right here on the Matt Reiser Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back. Just a few minutes left to go here on our program. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you may be tonight. And if you're just catching us, I want to remind you that this broadcast will be archived on the Southeastern Athletics Facebook page. Mr. Colton Vickers is here getting all the footage for you. So if you're just tuning in right now and say, hey, what has Matt talked about this entire hour? You can go back and watch it on the Facebook page. It'll be up later tonight. Colton does a great job getting that out there for all of our Lion fans. As just a few minutes to go here on our program, Lions had a perfect 5-0 week if you're just joining us. Knocked off Purdue on Tuesday night, Mississippi State on Wednesday, and then went on the road and swept the Lamar Cardinals. Moved to 5-1 overall in the Southland Conference, 16-6 overall on the season. Matt, one of the questions I didn't get to last week, I know that came in that wanted to get your opinion on this, or not your opinion, but just a fact, is they want to know how many uniform combinations you have. Ooh. I know, Matt, we have a lot of uniform combinations. That's one thing you've done is it seems like we get a new uniform like every year. You add something. I know you got the socks going on this year.
Yeah, we like swag.
I know you're counting over here. You're over here with the fingers.
Yeah, we like swag. You know, there's so many combinations now because of the hat, and now even, like you said, the socks. With the socks now, that just adds a whole nother different element. I think that's times 2 now. Jersey tops. We got 6 different jersey tops. We got we've got another one on the way. So. Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, it might be early Christmas here this week. So I'm happy. I'm excited about it. I'm ready to see it because I think the plan, what comes out on the picture, now sometimes it doesn't come out that way in real life, but what is on that screen, I'm excited to see out there at the Pat.
No preview?
No preview.
Oh, there you have it. So when are you going to wear them the first time?
As soon as I get them. I'll put it on. It's like a new toy, man. You can't not have it and sit there and not wear it, you know. So as soon as they come in, I might change Damon. I might tell them, hey, man, we're wearing white tonight. Never mind, we're wearing green if it comes in at 5 o'clock.
Oh, well, there you go. You just gave us a foreshadow. Green. There's a little hint. It's a green top. There you go. And Damon actually who does such a great job with the program and all, he was over there signaling me 12 uniform tops. I mean, 12 different uniform combinations already this year. So you've already wore a lot of different ones. I know we added the pinstripes added last year.
The pinstripes were full pinstripe added last year. Pinstripe pants 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then you added the gold V-neck last year,
yeah,
and then we're still wearing. I still love the gray.
Yeah, gray's
retros.
Old school, man.
I love them.
I got to figure out a hat to go with it though. I want an old school hat with it, maybe an old block Southeastern S or something like that. I'll take. Hey, on Twitter, if you've got any opinions, go ahead and send them to me. I'd be more than happy to look at them.
You see that? Look, he's taking suggestions from fashion coordinators out there. Certainly so. As a reminder, we do this each and every Monday night from 7 to 8 o'clock. We want you to be involved in our show. You can send in questions to Coach Reiser, and we'll read them aloud here on our program. Matt, we don't have a ton of time left, about 10 minutes to go or so. This hour always flies by. I do want to get your opinion on this. You're 16-6 right now. You're 5-1. And I'll probably ask you this several times as the year goes on, but where do you feel like your team is right now? You're playing really well. You've won 9 out of your last 10, 4-1 a week ago, 5-0 this week, 5-1 in the conference. Where do you feel like your team is? And if you're going to get this thing where you want it to be in 2018, what's got to change? What's got to improve as the season goes on?
Yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction. Like I said last week, it was a week we won 4 out of 5, and we weren't really excited about it because of the way we played. And this week we're in 5 out of 5, and the way we played and went about our business, extremely excited because there's progress. I think that's the biggest thing throughout the year. You got to be able to handle the good. You got to be able to handle the bad. I think that's still where I'm ready to see where we really handle the rough parts. And even the year we won 42 games, there was a rough part in there, right? And I think we've obviously we've talked about it. We've lost a few games we feel like we shouldn't have, but we really haven't hit that rough patch yet, where it's been a long road, long grind, nothing can bounce our way type deal, or maybe it was. Maybe it was last week when we didn't feel real good about it. We're just finding ways to win, and one of the ugliest wins I've had in my career at Tulane. I don't know, but I feel like the club is starting to gel and starting to form. Guys are getting more identifiable in their roles and knowing what their role is, but also he's still excited about opportunities. Opportunities will still arise as the year goes along because things happen. Guys go in slumps. Guys, unfortunately, knock on wood, get hurt. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year. But different roles will kind of emerge as the year goes along. But for the most part, guys are starting to get comfortable being there every single day and learning how to do it every single day. I think that's the biggest part of this. Early with this club, we had guys, we talked about it, we were playing 6 out of the 7 days a week, but the one day we take off, we get swept by UConn. And we talked about that, where it should have been a good week the week we played LSU and we went 2-2. It was a 2-2 week. We're 500, and I get fired if I'm 500. So it's supposed to be in 3-1 where we don't take a day off. We play every day. Hey, sometimes you get beat, but if you play the right way, do the right things, then we're in good shape. And if you go 3-4, win 3 out of 4, go 3-1 every week, then your winning percentage is 75%, which then obviously I'm getting an extension. So it's a big difference, and understand how to play every single day. I think that's the exciting part. Where we finished off Lamar this past weekend, it wasn't one of those that was given to us. It's one we went out and earned. So it was exciting to see that. In order for us to get where we want to be, I think we just got to stay the course. And obviously, once we really, some guys do hit some struggle moments, I'm excited to see how they handle those moments as well, and how they handle themselves as teammates. I think that's the biggest part of this.
Matt, I got a statement that, it's not really a question, a statement that comes in that says, hey, Matt, it's nice to see two teams from the Southland Conference getting national recognition. I think that's big for our league. I'm adding that at the end, but, I think that's big for our league. And yourself, Sam Houston, has really done a good job of kind of carrying the flag, and making this more of a national a national brand for baseball. I mean, this conference is in a great geographic location to be very competitive on the national level in baseball, and I think we're seeing that in our conference.
No doubt, and I'd like to, and this might be some archiving for Damon, but to go and see the last time two Southland teams were ranked in top 30 or top 25. I think it's been a long time.
Maybe never.
Maybe never. It's a good possibility, but it goes back to where I was kicking and fussing and huffing and puffing last year, but telling everybody in the country that we were a 3-bid league. It's a really good league, especially the top end of our conference. You go and look at what Corpus has done to date so far early in the season. They've played extremely well. So, I just think it's a league that does a fantastic job of pride themselves in the sport. I think a lot of the coaches in our league do a good job of trying to do things the right way. Getting the right kids and playing the right way, and don't get caught up in the antics that can be the outside noise. I think our guys do a really good job, and it is. It's one of those that we're proud of the brand we have. We're proud of the Southland brand because we know exactly what we have in this league week in and week out, and so the rest of our coaches. So it's neat to see it, but we got to continue it. It's a deal where we've had some success, but again, it's early season. We got to continue the success and continue to make the Southland proud.
I think it's nice that the conference has really done a good job, in my opinion, the other teams in the league, that going out and playing high-quality teams in the non-conference. And that was one of the things we sat here a couple of years ago and we're like, man, going back to that word, RPI, right. Like, man, we're playing some teams in our league, right, and our RPI is going down even when we sweep them. And because they weren't going out and scheduling, and I think that these other teams in the league have really followed yourself, Sam Houston, McNeese, that lead of going out there and playing some really good teams in the non-conference.
They really have, man, and they've done a fantastic job of winning those games. You can't just play those games; you got to win some of those. I think that's a big part of it, and that was another one I just saw pop up there. Northwestern State to split a weekend series up there in Nebraska. So you talk about another quality win for our league. It is from top to bottom, man. It really it's a pretty doggone good league. So, but it is. We continue to make that brand proud, and I think we are.
Yeah, you look at just your opponent for this weekend, Houston Baptist already has wins this year over Baylor, Fresno State, Rice, and Houston. So they have some quality wins. You look at their overall record of 8-12. This is a really good baseball team going to be coming in here this weekend. Just to kind of reset what we've talked about tonight, we just have a couple of moments left to go here on our show. Lions went 5-0 on the week. They are now ranked in the top 30 of the collegiate baseball poll, coming in this week at number 28. The week started on Tuesday night. They knocked off the Purdue Boilermakers. They beat them 4-0. Mason Knopp was outstanding. Cody Gross and himself were named Southland Conference Players of the Week, hitter and pitcher. And then on Wednesday night, Lions went to MGM Park in Biloxi and beat Mississippi State for the 6th consecutive time, as the Lions knocked off the Bulldogs, and then over the weekend went on the road and beat Lamar. Coming up this week, tomorrow night, 6:30 first pitch at South Alabama. On Wednesday night, 6 o'clock first pitch at Jackson State. There will be no radio for that game on Jackson State. Every other game will be on the radio network right here, but except for that game on Wednesday night. And then on the weekend, it's back to a normal Southland Conference weekend, 6 o'clock on Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday. 1 o'clock on Sunday. That's Houston Baptist right here at the Pat, as they'll be on campus at Southeastern Louisiana University. Matt, just a couple of minutes left to go on our show. I'll give it your final thoughts of the night as you head into another big 5-game week. Again, you went 5-0 last week. You've won 9 out of your last 10 and have been playing good baseball.
Yeah, I'm going to take the last couple minutes to thank my assistant coaches. I got the tweet a while ago. Did Daniel Latham do anything? Yeah, that man's working his behind off right now trying to figure out how to pitch South Alabama, a good hitting club. I'll be honest with you, those guys work extremely hard, and they've got families, and Lath's got a little Keen out there too. You know, he's having to go on the road recruiting and trying to watch the video and trying to break down swings and build these reports and get us prepared and get us ready, because I think that's the biggest thing when we're going into this. Between Coach Mamu and Gip and Latham, those 3 guys are so prepared going into competition. The guys see that too. So when you go into competition like that, when you're that prepared, you're that confident when you go into battle. You know, we know what we're trying to face. We know what we're trying to do. We know the game plan. Now, whether it's executed or not, it's up to the guys. But I feel like our guys, our coaches, are doing a fantastic job of putting them in the right spot in the right moments to have success. And I think our guys see that. I think they're very confident when they go in because they see how much hard work's going into it from our side of things. And I can't commend those guys enough. You know, it was funny watching today in a staff meeting. We honored a guy in the staff meeting basically as Employee of the Month, right? And it was funny him talking about his support system and why he's so successful is because his support system. It's the same deal here. You know, there's got to be a face, there's got to be a name associated with the program, but it isn't my show. It's our show, and I think that's the neat part about this. Those guys have worked so diligently and trusted me and been so loyal to us. I think that's why we have so much success to have a great support system around us.
Lions certainly have had a lot of success to start the year. 16-6 overall, 5-1 in the Southland Conference. That's going to do it for us. We're completely out of time. Make sure you join us next week to hear from the best coach in the country, Matt Reiser, right here at the Matt Reiser Radio Show, live from Buddy's Bar and Grill, and brought to you by North Oak Health Systems. For Coach Matt Reiser, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next time right here on the Matt Reiser Radio Show.
You've been listening to the Matt Reiser Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. The Matt Reiser Radio Show is a product of Lion Sport Properties. More information on how you can support future broadcasts is available through Lion Sport Properties at area code 985-549-2570.